you can love yourself more. That's what I was meant to tell you because, see, if you do that every day, continuously, you start to really evolve and you become who you're meant to be in this life, in this world. You uncover who you are and you help our world evolve as well because that's why you were born and that's why you are alive now. And I'm also going to tell you why I know that you have a divine plan because that was the message that was on my site, Any Advice for Today.com. It was on there today. It's December 26th today, but I'm going to show you a message from December 27th because that really helps me to explain why I know that you have this divine plan and all you have to do each day is just to love yourself a little bit more. Because that's what we all have to do to come into ownership or self acceptance, because that's your life plan. That's what you were given when you were born. We don't know what that's going to be because it's going to be different for all of us. And I could never have told you that this would have been mine because I thought it was going to be many, many other things. And then the world changed and I thought, wait a minute, maybe it's different now. You felt the same thing in different areas, in different ways over the last several years, probably, or possibly most of your life. Because it doesn't matter when you start to say, wait a minute, this is who I am, and I'm going to love myself. And there's also something else that happens that you may not have been aware of, but there's a collective consciousness as well, and you are contributing to that. So when we see something that's really upsetting in the world, we'll probably find something that's really upsetting within us, and then we start to understand everything is energy. So maybe if we could heal what was going on within us, maybe it would start showing up in the world, and then you start to discover that that's absolutely true. And then I had to discover that I was given that work. And I have to say that because it was given to me. I didn't know I was receiving it. And that's the thing that is so surprising, which I must tell everyone now, which I'm going to spend the rest of my life doing. Because, at 74, I'm going to finally say, I'm going to really accept myself because that's what I want for you. That is how you love yourself, when you can accept who you have become. And it's never going to be the same as what it was yesterday. That's not how anything works. It is always something different in every single day, which is why being mindful in your present moment and knowing, well, who am I today in this moment is going to be more helpful for you. Then I spent almost 36 years now. I spent sitting down every day and receiving cosmic guidance and not understanding that it was turning into a philosophy that could change your life and our world. And that I know as well, because there's no reason that it wouldn't. Because the only difficulty any person has is they may not understand who they are or found their life purpose, or maybe they think that they don't have one, or maybe they've been traumatized so much to believe that they have nothing, or maybe they have gone through so many difficult, challenging situations in their lives that they think that they're worth nothing, and none of those things are actually happening. It's that every person is given something they're meant to do, and it serves the evolution of the world, no matter what it is. I mean, I couldn't have told you that all the difficulties and challenges that I went through in my life would turn into something that could cause healing for me and others, but it did. The only thing we don't do is believe. That was the most difficult time for me, is to believe that, did I really do this? And it's the same for you. Whenever we live in the world, we are creating something new, every single person. And so it's challenging because what you're meant to create has never existed before. And that's why you won't believe it, or you'll doubt it, or won't own it. And that's when you're not loving yourself. And I can say this because I've done it for years. Not for the reasons you might think, but for the reason that I knew, because I said, oh, wait a minute, I can't love myself. That means I would have to accept everything that I've done and what I've brought to this world, and then I'd have to tell people. So that's the other thing that we do. We hide. We don't want to know who we are. We don't want to be seen. This is why when I wrote an article a few years ago, said I might be channeling Carl Jung, because I hadn't studied Carl Jung, but I heard about him, and now since then I've learned so much more. But when he started talking about synchronicity, I go, oh yeah, that's what I did. Because see, I downloaded all this information, and then to find out that it was It had this synchronistic characteristic in it of information. Because that's what happens. That's how we evolve as humans, as a society, of civilization. There's a collective information and understanding and knowledge that we can accept or believe. Most times we won't believe it because we haven't seen it before. So when I first started talking about my work, my program 4 years ago, I said, this will change your life and it's really affordable and anyone can do it. And people looked at me like I was out of my mind. But I said, no, you're really going to want this because it gives you control of your consciousness. And that's the only thing that you want because that's the thing that gives you empowerment, that leads you to self-actualization. We've seen all of that. Maslow told us about self-actualization and all of those elements, and I can look at this and I said, oh yeah, Wilhelm told us how to get there. Wow. And then to hear Jung talking about the the shadow effect and how people don't want to examine themselves, and I'm going, is that what I'm experiencing with this and myself? Yes, we all are. And that's what's going on. But I'm going to read you this and I'm going to explain something else because I want you to understand. You have a grand opportunity coming up. We all do. And it's this next a new moon that's coming up on December 30th. And I'm going to hold a Wilhelm channeling session on that. And because we're almost there. You are almost there. See, last year on December 30th, because they give me things in advance, that because there's an alignment that I just am figuring out here, and that alignment says you're almost there, meaning we resist becoming who we could be. Always, that's just a human thing. But then we have a cooperation of the universe that's giving us positive energies that if we utilize it, we could create something quite different. We may not understand that, and I'm still studying it to see because that's what I've done. Because I've healed all of those physical, all these things over these years. I did not completely understand why it was happening, but I do now because it was an energetic alignment that I was receiving through the messages from Wilhelm. Anyone can do it, and you can do it. But this one will help you because you must love yourself. That's really what I want to say. There is an organization in our universe, in our world, and in your life. And I know that because you came into the world at the perfect time. It may take us a while before we understand that unique genetic code that we were given when we were born, but I do know that everyone has it. And the thing that I also discovered is that when I was receiving information, I was tapping into universal consciousness and the changes of our planet, of our universe, as things were happening. The energies, that's what affects us emotionally, mentally, spiritually. We just figured that out later. And so I was listening to some astrologer or person this morning, and they were talking about particular dates that happened during this past year that maybe we would understand what was happening in our world. And so what happens is I'm always given that information. I just didn't know that beforehand. But Wilhelm has always given me that information. But I'm going to give you some of it today because eventually we have to accept ourselves. And I know that a lot of people, this is really challenging. It's been challenging to understand what was happening in the world over the last several years and probably in your life. But I do understand it. And this is, and I want you to understand it because it's so vital for you to love yourself now. That be the most important thing that you could do. But I'm going to just read some of these. I'm going to show them to you so that you can understand because I would receive information and years before, different times, it doesn't matter, but it was all aligned to the information, infinite intelligence that we all have. Let's just put it that way. We start to understand it and we tap into it at different times in our lives, but also in our civilization. And for me to wake up one day and say, wait a minute, I was given this and I had to accept that. But see, you do as well. Because whatever I do, I can give to others and then they'll do something more with it. That's how evolution happens. So, but you will get it from this because the information I receive, even when I'm being used, as it seems sometimes, as an example, it'll be for you. You'll understand it because we all, as humans, operate in the same way. Sometimes we think it's because if we're really successful and have all the money we want and all, that's not it either. Well, I was 36 years old and I was coaching a multi-millionaire and he's like confused about what to do next. It's always the same because it's only happening in your consciousness. There are no limits to what any of us might create or achieve. Here it is. So this morning, um, I was led to this message on December 26th of 2011. And you will see that I've placed several things in the description of the videos, many of my videos, where there are several messages that Wilhelm has given me that are a continuation of information over years. And so the alignment of that always makes sense. So on December 26, 2011, to understand it today, it's probably a lot easier because that's how we evolve. But this one, especially for me, when you realize at certain times in your physical life experience that you desire more for others than for yourself, you are also reaching a new understanding that you are all one. This is no indication that you are willing to deprive yourself, but that you know and affirm that you live in an abundant universe and there is more than enough. Another result that occurs when you hold this manner of thinking is that you inevitably create and manifest more for you as well. This is also simply another manner in which you experience the expansion you sought. Conversely, when you find yourself unwilling to share anything because of a fear of lack, you will produce more lack in your personal experience and reality. This was 2011. As you can see, that's when Wilhelm gave me this. But giving you this, I wasn't ready. And that's the only reason that any of us hold ourselves back, because we haven't accepted that next part of who we can become, because it's always something for all of us. It doesn't matter who we are. Then the next one, let me show you. I have one moment, let me find it. Here it is. Okay. Then we had many of you might remember we had this eclipse, this total eclipse that was going to happen on April 8th. I didn't know what it was going to be, but everyone's talking about how monumental this was. Nothing had happened. You might remember it, but this is the information that came through. You will evolve today, and an orchestrated galactic shift will aid your evolution. We have guided you through this restructuring, and as you view the message we provided in 2012 and attend our live conversation later today, you will experience more of your new life and world. Go back to August 8, 2012. The only thing you ever celebrate is oneness. You, as it is being used here, refers to the collective you or mass consciousness. Every single celebration that you experience only has the celebration of oneness in common. You will all come to celebrations with many different ideas, viewpoints, or reasons for the celebration. So in that sense, you experience only oneness. When you choose to remember that you are all one, you can better facilitate the expansion of all. When you remember you are all one, there is no war, discrimination, judgment, or prejudice, for you understand that any of them would only be directed at you. That was the message, and it was so powerful. It was exactly what we were moving through in our world. And then there was another thing that happened on October 18th, which I had no clue what that was, so I had to look it up, called the Grand Cross. And it was just astrological configurations, but they're energetic shifts. And this is what we were told. You have reached another fork in the road. Although you experience many throughout your physical life, today might be more meaningful for you due to your restructuring. As you view the message we gave you many years ago and listen to the channeling session we held yesterday on your full moon, you will be more motivated to take the fork that serves you. October 18th, 2014. Just as you've done countless times before, you find yourself at what seems like a pivotal moment. You're presented with two paths, each shaping your physical existence. The power lies in your hands. Will you choose fear or expansion? Consider the acronym for fear, false evidence appearing real. When you choose to believe in fear, you limit your potential for growth. But when you choose expansion, you open yourself to a world of possibilities, transforming your current reality. You have done this over and over again, but tend to forget whenever you reach a new fork in the road. Decide to make a choice in your moment of now. Then, I just saw that there was a new moon, another new moon, which is rare, happening again this month. And so I'm holding a channeling session, which will also give me the information on that because, see, we're very close with all the things that we've moved through and what you've moved through in your life. If you just start to use the energies of what's coming up, we could be in a much very different place. And that's why I'll be holding a channeling session on that day. You can register at my website, rogerburnley.com. Here it is. You are almost there. Our message from last year and a recording will aid you immensely today. December 30th, 2022. Don't stop now. You're almost there. We have said you are restructuring your life and world, and you were given a contribution to offer, and it is within you. None of you could have known you would have this opportunity, so we gave you our work. December 30th of 2020. When you stop running, you find yourself. That statement is accurate for every person, including you, and you decided to be alive during this time to make that discovery. While we have said you are moving through a massive restructuring, we also refer to your human operating system's reorganization. That system is always limited, and you want it to expand. We know that references to your past lives are lost on many, but we will use the current lifetime to make our point. Each of you has experienced some form of limitation in this life, which means you came to believe you were limited, which you were not. Then you require some outside force or occurrence to cause you to access more of your true self. The following message will help you more. December 17th, 2017. Please stop running from yourself. Now, let me move this. Please tell your story in detail as it will help many. You uncovered a transcript of a dream you had 12 years ago. In the dream, you witnessed a group of men you deemed to be healers in some way, and there was a call made for a volunteer, and you stepped up. Immediately as you did, you questioned your actions or why you would do such a thing, and even asked at the end, why me? Now in your current time, after discovering the transcript, you attempted to pretend you didn't see it. It can no longer be ignored. You now recognize a conflict. Stop running from means letting go of your resistance to becoming your true self. Everyone does this to a certain degree, and now you can decide if you will stop running. Now, I can talk about that because I did that for many years, and we all have. And so that's just a thing that we do, and we decide when we're going to stop doing it. And then this is what happened later. I sat down one day. I said, oh wow. I was inspired by the actor Jim Carrey to write a check because I said, I knew that I had discovered something that was worth so much money because I wasn't doing anything for money before, as you've probably seen in some of my other messages and what I did with this program. It was never about that. I had to make sure that I was going to have something that was going to be something for everyone, and that's why I had that dream. And that dream was about moving back. Oh, sorry. That dream was about moving to the new area in my life and in our world, and that's why this information has come through. And so, as you look at this, you will see that I was repeated that dream that was just mentioned, reminding me of it because you have the same thing. And I will tell you something else, and that. This came up again, and on July 3rd, there was another message that's on Any Advice for Today. You can find it there on July 3rd of this past year, and it said fairy tales are real. And it listed all these dates on July 3rd that would just show you that you have everything within you. But what happens, we have a dream. We only exist in our move through our lives through our consciousness, how we perceive things. And that consciousness is buried within us. So we got to figure out a way to get in there. And that's the work that I was given. And does it work? It works because it heals you, and that's what it did for me. And I can say that because I know that it will. Everyone won't do it. You must understand that everyone will not change. We're moving through a huge transition in our world right now, and it's challenging, which is why I'm doing this work. Because when you move through your own ascension process, it's difficult. But now think about the entire world doing it. All the energy that's coming in. And so this is why Wilhelm said, we want you to put all our work out and then bring groups together. And I didn't do all of it, and that's what I'm doing now. You haven't either. And I'm saying this because I'm talking to all of my members, because I have people who have done so much in this work that just blew me away. That's really what happened in 2021 when they started. I go, how did this occur? I couldn't believe that I had healed in this way from this work, but I couldn't believe that they were doing it as well. And I held back, but I'm no longer doing that. So all the places I've been, I couldn't really own all of this because I didn't know. I'm saying this because I really want you to hear this. You will never know how much you can achieve as long as you are alive, because there's always more, and it's always in your consciousness. And at my age now, I know that is true, and that's why I know that you have this divine plan, and I was given a pathway to it for you, because we're all the same, and we operate in that same way. This is why the work happens. It works. That's why it works. Many people were asking that, what makes it different? It causes you to connect with your authentic self, nothing else, what you came to the world to do. So please check out the work, but also if come to the channeling session on the 30th. It will be a time for you to really transform your life energetically. Not you don't have to, doesn't mean you have to do it with me. I just want you to understand you have this opportunity now energetically to create the best life possible for yourself, and I know you can do it. And again, I can say this, the only reason we don't is because we just give up, we don't try, or we don't believe we can. I know you can. Thank you for being here. See you soon.